Excellent. So here we are in the Serpentine Pavilion. I'm Bjarke, and the Serpentine Pavilion is actually the final chapter in the publication we have made with A+U. That's called BIG+SMALL, and it's essentially a journey through like two handfuls of projects we've been working on for the last 5 years. Starting with the biggest project we're doing right now, which is the flood protection of Lower Manhattan, where we actually found a way to work with the local community to create the necessary flood protection for the next Sandy storm, but in a way where you won't see it as a piece of infrastructure or like a seawall that segregates the life from the city from the water around it, but you'll actually see it as undulating hills, parks, pavilions, pieces of furniture, and then there's a journey through all our projects, from the larger ones down to the smallest one, and the final one is actually a pavilion in a park. It's not going to protect Manhattan from flooding, but it's like a very light footprint that is going to create the framework for the cultural life of Serpentine Gallery over the next half a year. So I think in a way that, I think maybe because of our name, BIG, which is simply an acronym for Bjarke Ingels Group, I think there's been a common misconception that we are only interested in big projects. But I really believe that you can have a big impact with a tiny pavilion. And I think that's the dichotomy we're trying to explore with BIG+SMALL. For me, a pavilion in the park, you can almost see it like where a typical work of an architect is in a very saturated existing condition, where a lot of the things you can do as the architect become tactical or strategic responses to existing conditions. Whereas you can say an artist typically exhibits in a gallery in a white cube, a neutral surrounding for the work of the artist to be expressed as untainted as possible. And I think for me that is maybe what a pavilion can do. It's a small pavilion in a big park, and therefore you can explore certain ideas more purely. And I think what we've tried to do is explore this idea of hybrid identity. We call it bigamy, the fact that often the most interesting things come when you combine two things that are seemingly mutually exclusive or incompatible. We just finished a building in New York called the Court Scraper that combines a courtyard with a skyscraper. We're finishing a power plant in Copenhagen that combines a power plant with a public park where you can ski. Things you would normally see as separate and combining them. And in the case of the Serpentine, we've basically taken the most basic elements of architecture, the wall, and unzipped it, pulled it apart to create a hall inside. So it creates a gate to the Serpentine Gallery, but it also creates a space within for the events of the Serpentine. It's transparent in one direction, it's opaque in the other. It's an orthogonal grid in one direction, it's a curvilinear cave in the other. Identities that you would normally not find together, and bringing them together in something that feels sort of very simple and effortless.